Yeah, obviously, playing league games is really difficult, and when you have the opportunity to play at home, it's important that you protect home court. And I was really pleased with our guys and their ability to do that. Very thankful for our crowd and just the energy and what they brought to the arena. I think our guys really fed off of that. But a lot of growth from our team. Talking about our first Sun Belt game on the road and how we've bounced back, how we've addressed the issues that we needed to, and those were very evident. They came out, throughout both of those games because I thought we made the toughness plays and the effort and just the gritty types of plays that are necessary to win in this league on both nights against Southern Miss and then against Arkansas State in what was two very different types of ball games. From what we had to do defensively as to what we had to do offensively against the changing defenses from a Thursday, Saturday. So just pleased with where our guys are, their response, obviously getting down 13 points and fighting back and finding a way, to clean up our mistakes and make just enough plays down the stretch against Arkansas State is not only a big win, but a big confidence boost and just kind of solidifies, the message we've been sending our guys of what's been missing throughout the year and now gives them the confidence that hey, we can correct those mistakes, and they certainly lead to winning.
Coach, you and I had some conversations coming back from South Alabama. Obviously, that was a rough one, and you're just like, I'm going to figure this team out. Do you feel, and that's still a work in progress, I know, but how much have you figured out here since the South Alabama game to right now? Do you feel like you've figured out your team a little bit more than at that point?
Yeah, without question. I mean, we've made great strides, and again, adversity, can reveal that, right? And I think, our guys just being able to kind of hear the hard truths of, hey, this is not going to work. We've got to be better here. You've got to have the accountability on an individual standpoint. You've got to be able to hold your teammates accountable. But I think every coach can attest. When you're in a comfort level, and you've got a understanding of your team, a better feel, then you're going to coach with more confidence and be able to put the right lineups, the right people together, put them in the right places, and we've certainly made strides in doing that. Getting guys healthy has been important. Noah's been giving us some just tremendous minutes as of late, and steadily getting healthier and healthier to where we can increase his usage and his minutes as well. And then just all the guys really stepping up. So having a feel for our guys, I think they're really starting to understand, hey, this is what it takes to win. This is what, personally they need to each individually bring to the table in order to make this thing work for our particular team. And so them buying into that has been the difference. And sometimes you have to go through some tough adversity like that South Alabama game in order to really, submit to it.
Well, and that's the one thing I'm sure you're proud as a coach to see the growth of your guys that it hasn't stopped. That again, you recruited these guys thinking that they could do a certain thing. It takes some time to figure it out. And as you're figuring out your team, the guys are taking ownership. Do you see them taking more ownership in what you guys are doing?
Without question, and so just again being able to identify, hey, our team really needs X. They need this to be brought to the table specifically from each and every player, and then the guys kind of owning that in front of their teammates, and then that allows them to hold each other accountable to do that. And so just seeing tremendous growth, with them, and one great example is Mark. Mark was obviously phenomenal on Thursday night. Took over the game. We'd been missing that. I know we had talked about it on both post game interviews of how he's done a great job of leading our team, keeping us organized. But we don't want that to come at the expense of him taking over and scoring and doing the things that he's capable of doing. And I think he found a tremendous balance of that on Thursday. And then you fast forward to Saturday, and obviously they were going to play him tougher. They were going to really key in on him and not allow him to come in and single handedly beat us. But he made just enough plays, and even when he wasn't in the game down the stretch, which was for that particular game the best decision to help us win, he was driving the energy over there on the bench. He was the first one up, yelling, getting his teammates going, and then obviously stepping in there in the final seconds to be able to execute the fouls and what we needed to do to secure the game. And so that's the consistency that you need from a 6 year point guard. And, although it may not have shown up on the stat sheet on Saturday, it certainly it shows up in the locker room and helps us win. And that's just one of many examples. X has been he's been a different player since he came back from Christmas. He really, truly has, and it's been a process of him understanding what this staff needs from him and executing that on both ends of the floor. But he's certainly, risen to the occasion and found that balance of setting up his teammates, being aggressive, driving the ball, taking the right shots, and then getting back to being a tough-minded kind of head of the snake defensively for us. And so all of those things, and each player has their own, attributes and challenges that they've stepped up to, since, that December loss before Christmas that has really led to the point where we're at right now.
And this will be my last one, but when you first were hired, I think one of the first things you talked about was your defense, and that's always going to be a staple of yours. This team's been inconsistent, but was Saturday's second half, was that as good as a defensive half of basketball that you've played this year?
Yeah, without question. That's been a frustration this season, and honestly, I wouldn't say that it's been all on the players. It's been us, as you asked in your first question, Dave, figuring this team out. Some things that may have been really good for our team last year at Morehead State weren't quite as good for this group here, right? And some of that's, whether it's size at the guards positions, it's rim protection from our big guys, and so just making small adjustments here and there to really kind of tailor our defense towards this personnel that we have right now. But that was certainly a great defensive performance, one that we're used to within our staff, and one that I believe we can replicate moving forward because that's a high-powered offensive team in Arkansas State, and certainly just getting them out of their identity, right? Keeping them off the foul line is huge. They only get 17 3-pointers off and hold them to 9 offensive rebounds. And so, those numbers will help you win. And it might be a different set of numbers to help you win against the opponents this week. But our guys really buying into that defensively is something that you can count on each and every night to help you win games.
Yeah, Preston, it's Shane. You talked about Noah Williams a little bit before, and how difficult has it been for him, or not difficult, maybe, to be a guy who's been an all-conference caliber player, put up those kinds of numbers, and then to come in here and maybe kind of realize like he doesn't need to all of a sudden be playing at an all-conference level, like statistically, and then even in a game like Saturday where he makes a couple tough shots in a row, but he's not saying, okay, well, I got to take 10 more here down the stretch. Like, just how's that kind of adjustment been for him?
He's done a great job. He came in, he wasn't completely healthy when he first got here. Being out for a year is tough on every player, and he had to get himself in shape. He had to get acclimated. But I think Noah came in with a great appreciation. I think being out for a season and not being a part of the team and not having the ability to play, it really, kind of solidified what the game means to him. And so I think maybe when he first got here, there was a point where he thought, hey, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to step on the court and I'm going to be the Noah that I was 2-3 years ago that's, dropping 40 against Stanford. But I think once he realized, hey, I may not get back to being that guy, but I still appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be a part of a good team, be a part of a quality culture, and and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help this team win. And so that's been the noticeable change in Noah probably over the last month and a half. And then then he's hit some more adversity, with being injured and being out. And so he's had to find other ways to impact our success. And so he's done a really nice job of just being focused and using his experience and his voice to help his teammates. And in turn, that's helped him stay engaged and stay ready for when he was healthy to get back out there. And so, what you're seeing from him now is what you would expect, a veteran player going out there, making winning plays for our team and not necessarily going out there and trying to make plays for himself. And so I'm really proud of Noah for being able to do that because his experience is extremely valuable. His talent is at a really high level. It's just probably not going to be able to come out as consistently as it was a few years ago when he was younger, when he was a little healthier and a little more in the flow. of the season within the teams that he played compared to now. But certainly, opportunities like he had the other day to really come in and make an immediate impact on both ends of the floor have been tremendous, and we've really been missing those. But extremely proud of Noah and his growth since he's been here.
And sort of a similar theme, but you talked about Mark being on the bench and his reaction to things that are late in the game, and you had other guys who maybe didn't play as many minutes or didn't get in Saturday as they have been recently, and it seemed like the reaction on the bench, the body language from everybody, like as you guys were winning, was probably what you were expecting. And just how much do you notice that during a game? Is that something that you kind of go back and review? Like, I know you're watching film, but are you also kind of keeping an eye on like bench shots and things like that? Or just how do you, I guess, get that out of those guys? And then also, how much are you able to kind of like coach that?
Well, we coach it. We absolutely do. I would tell you, I don't give a lot of attention to it during the game. My focus is in a lot of other places, but we certainly have people who are tasked with the assignment of making sure that we do. We've got somebody on our staff that is constantly watching two or three guys, whether they're playing or not, and just tallying up how many positive affirmations they give their teammates. And we've got a goal where we want, each of those guys to get to. It might be 200, it might be 300. And so we're really honing in on that. And there's different points throughout the game where we may say, that person may come to one of the coaches and say, hey, this player, he's at 100 right now, coach. He's normally at 150. And so it's an opportunity for us to hold them accountable, for that body language and for their affirmations, to maybe even just picking up their teammates. And certainly guys with the bench, it's really important. Every season, we play a scrimmage and we'll watch film of the scrimmage as a team. We'll learn from it, but then there's always going to be a bench edit, right? Because inevitably, every team, every player thinks they're going to play a lot. It's just the way that it is. And then when you get to that first 40 minutes, people realize pretty quickly that, hey, there's only 5 guys out there for 40 minutes, and there's not as many pieces of the pie as we probably thought there were. And then we start to really see where they're at, right? How do you respond to that? Can you still be a great teammate if you're not playing well or if you're not playing a lot? And we coach our bench, and just to be transparent, we coach our bench really hard in the beginning, and we hold those guys accountable. And big games like Arkansas State, where we're fighting back and we're playing well and making shots and we're getting stops, the bench should be great. All right. I mean, if they're not, they're going to be the only people in the arena not standing up. But it's going to be when you go on the road at Marshall. It's going to be when you're at South Alabama and you're not playing well, shots aren't going in, and you're not getting the stops. That's when you really need those guys up on their feet and, encouraging their teammates. And so that's going to be a great challenge for us moving forward. But it's certainly something that we need, and it's certainly something that we give focus to and we coach up as best we can.
All right. Thank you.
Well,
Jackson, did you have a question?
Yeah, yeah. Coach, I want to ask you a little bit, kind of going off that theme of guys coming off the bench. Seeing Will make his JMU debut on Thursday and then contribute a little bit on Saturday was kind of a bit of a pleasant surprise. How is his sort of how he's gone through a bit of an injury journey as well. What was it kind of like to kind of see him finally get on the court and get some minutes there?
I think it was huge, right? Obviously, it impacted winning. He had a phenomenal first 2 games for us, right? He goes 2 for 3 from the 3. He gets, I think 8 total points, a few rebounds here and there, and does a lot of things. But what's really remarkable and impactful about that is, Will joined our team late. He was the last player to get here in the summer, and he was the first player to get injured. He was the very first week of the season had a serious injury that required, first week of the summer that he was here, he got injured. And so that was tough, because there was a good amount of time where Will was removed from our team, whether it's from his injury or, he wasn't able to practice. And so we would invest a little bit more time academically for him, just to, really capitalize on this semester. And so the fact that he was able to, number one, get healthy as fast as he did, and number 2, jump into practice coming off of our Christmas break and make an immediate impact and look like a guy who can help us. And then to have the humility when we sat him down and I said, hey, listen, I like seeing you out there. And man, you look like something that we need right now. I'm a little surprised that it's happened, but you know, if you feel like you want to help this team, I believe you can. And so we gave him a day or so to think about that. And he talked to a bunch of the assistants and myself again. And then he said, you know what, I can help this team. And he wanted to do that. And you're talking 12 games into the year, a guy who's barely practiced saying, I don't care how many minutes I play or how many games, none of that's guaranteed. I want to help this team right now. That is so rare in the transfer portal, years of eligibility, NIL era that we're in, where more often than not, guys don't make a decision that's where they put the team first. It's just the way it is. And so it's very refreshing and contagious and encouraging for Will to be able to do that. And it speaks a lot to his character, and his play speaks a lot to you know, the intangibles that he brings that we've been missing. And so excited to see where he takes that the rest of the season. And then certainly he's going to carve out a role for himself in the future.
Yeah, speaking of kind of moving forward in the season, AJ Smith on Saturday, right after that big win, was already talking about the road record, already talking about getting that first win. Do you feel like your guys are pretty amped up for this road trip and that opportunity to finally get a win in that road record?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're going to stay as focused as we can on ourselves for, for today. Today's always a great day to work on us. And but I did challenge the guys before we left the locker room. I talked about the things we did well during the Arkansas State game and how guys really stepped up to the challenge and answered the call. But I said, you got to be ready to come in here on Monday. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is this all you wanted? To win a home game and come from behind and do all those things, or do you want more? Right. And when I say that, we're going to come in and we're going to show you the mistakes that we've made. We're going to show you the things that we have to do a better job as we prepare to go on the road, because the reality is we haven't won a road game. We certainly know that we can, but we've got to be able to put this type of performance together for 40 minutes on the road. And so our guys know that. They know we've come up just short a number of times on the road this year. And if they want to do something special and significant this season, then you've obviously got to win games on the road and not just at the house. And so, without us even bringing that up, that's exciting to hear that, that was on AJ's mind, because that's certainly a bit of motivation as we head into preparation this week.